This is great. What's up? What's up? What's up, AMC people? Later. AMC is doing great. Waiting on seeing more people in here so we can get started. AMC is doing wonderful right now. In fact, it's the only one that is pulling its weight so far. I think that volume is. Got your friend, the hookah, running today as well. Everything is running. Clove is moving. Look at that. Looks like they're covering across the board. How are you guys doing today? Let's see the camera here. Is everyone having a great day? Look at that. Who's all in here? What's up, Vincent? How are you, my friend? ¿Qué pasó, amigo? What's up, Clutch? Yes, another beautiful day indeed, for sure. I'm trying to get this camera to be set up. Keep moving it around. Yes, the volume is kicking ass for sure. I'm looking forward to us staying above the $21 range. The most important strike price for this week is that $20 one. We got over 100,000, like a lot more. I think about 100 so far until now, about 102,000 contracts in the money just on the $20 strike alone. You guys see how crazy of a gamma ramp that is? Like this 15% that we saw today and that we saw yesterday, that was nothing compared to like last week when we ended over the 15 and a half. You guys seen how we called it last Friday, and it started taking place on yesterday on Tuesday. KJW, how are you doing, my friend? Is this just the hedgies screwing with us as usual, or are they actually making real progress? It seems like they control the price, not us. KJ, this is exactly what we were talking about, last week, and what I was telling you guys. The way to gauge this is by seeing two consecutive, for me personally, seeing two consecutive days of 30% or higher movement. That can make the price go much, much, much higher than what their ability is to bring the price back down to try to screw us over on, the option calls. So that's why if it was just one, and we saw that yesterday, then it was just only 15%. I was looking forward for the after hours, which did deliver. But now we're in the prime time, and we have to, by Friday, I don't care what the situation is, we have to finish above the $21 range. in order for us to fulfill this, destiny that the squeeze is on. And if Friday we close above that, then you can definitely book the fact that without any financial advice that the squeeze is up on us for sure. Also, did you guys see on this channel that we've been calling like it was very high on koss, and you seen what it did in the pre-market? They took most of those gains out, but that shows you the ability of those stocks with short, very small floats of how high they could break out. And I've been talking really high on cenn as well, SENN, and you've seen what it did in the pre-market as well. It's so crazy the amount, like the amount of stocks that are out there that are available for the squeeze. But most importantly, the idea that checked out, the most important idea is that, as I've been telling you for the longest, guys, we have a squeeze where it's not just one or two stocks that are going to squeeze. They're all squeezing at the same time because this is the best interest for them to get all of them to squeeze at the same time. Yeah, a lot more money at once to dump, but it is at least a survivable case for them, because if they just let one by one squeeze, do you know how much more each bandwagon will have? It will never end. Let's just put it that way. Okay, let me look in here again. Sheen, what's up, brother? So this is the first leg of AMC squeezy. Possibly, it could be. It looks very promising. I mean, it still looks like some foul play is very possible because they're trying to make everyone think that this is definitely the squeeze in with the movement. But like I told you guys before, we need at least two 25-30% move ups back to back. We had 15 yesterday. I'm looking for today by the time we close. The reason why I came on live right now is because it's around the 1:30-ish time frame, which is when the feds will report their repo and reverse repo transactions, and normally markets rebound after that. So this, what you see right now, is supposed to be the down side of things. After the repo and reverse repo operations are completed, we're going to look for GameStop to re-rally itself from the 10% gain that it's at right now, and perhaps AMC to jump. And I'm looking for 30% at least finish by 4 o'clock. If that checks out, then we're in the clear. Friday, we most likely will be breaking that $21 at least range. The most important one is the 20, but you want to break above it so that the strike price can go in the money, and whoever is holding those can be in the profits. They're not just below the break-even point. If you trade options, you know what I'm talking about. Let's see. Hey, Katie, what's up? How are you doing? What is causing the run up? The markets, well, there's more than one solution, like answer to it. One, last week it closed above the second most sought after strike price on the option chain, and they basically had to deliver all those. And we called it last Friday that it was going to happen by Tuesday. If it didn't happen Monday, it was going to happen by Tuesday, on this channel at least. And yes, so far it did. It checked out. Now we're just looking for the second leg up, which is the next 20 to 30% run up, for me personally, to verify for sure that this is a squeeze, not just an option chain trap, if that makes any sense. And from there on out, everything else is next. By the way, guys, FTDs, I think those will be the last thing, in my opinion, that they will cover, or in the process of the squeeze, that's when they will cover, because they can't let something like that be the reason why all the domino effect of all the other hedge funds fall back, like all fall together on their heads, because of if somebody decided to, or a market maker decided to deliver some FTDs. You know what I'm saying? So they'll leave that to the end. That's personally what just I humbly think. Look, even Pocus. Pocus, good questions, by the way, on the comment section. So Hopefully you got your answer. There's so much that I can only say. I'm so limited to what I can say, because of, like lawful reasons. So what you were asking, I was trying my best to give you as much without, implicating myself. Hopefully give you the idea. Hey, good afternoon, Danette. I know it's 3 hours behind in San Diego with you guys, so it is morning. For us, it's afternoon, but I'm still enjoying them, afternoon coffee and watching this movement. Plus, I'm on alert to see what the repo and reverse repo operations come to. Let's check. What is it? 144? Yeah, it should be in. Anybody has a guess where the number is? Go ahead, throw them out before we read the number. Who wants to give out a guess? um, let's see. So Sheen says Lion Trader mentioned hedge funds got inside info on the closeout of the comment period on transparency. Didn't go in their favor. That's very, very, very possible, by the way, guys, because they get it does make sense because normally without any execution, before any execution of something, the affected parties always seem to know much ahead. And I wouldn't be surprised if they knew this a year ago, by the way, guys. Like, don't be surprised because this whole thing from the get-go was about having enough money to deal with this madness. And the only way that they can do so is by prolonging this play. That's why we've been in this prolonged period for over a year because they needed to have enough cash on hand to deal with this madness. There's no way they can get out of this. They knew this. The only people that didn't know that were the YouTubers, some YouTubers, not all, and some FUD spreaders. That's it. But everybody else knows, including them. That side knew that they have to deal with this. There was just no way around it. Otherwise, you'll have a $0 economy because no one will go anywhere. The whole stock market is held as prisoner until the meme stock saga is dealt with. And dealt with by what I say by dealt with, as in completely finished. Everybody is out of it. Now we can move forward. By the way, thanks guys for all coming in here, and thank you for subscribing if you have already subscribed. And thank you also for liking the video because it helps push it out to more and more people. Danette, you are very close. 1.9 trillion. It's actually 1.8 trillion. It is, as we can see, is going up. Since Monday, it's gone up $100 billion. So it's either that there's more counterparties. Let's see how many counterparties. Wow. There's 89 counterparties. A lot of people need the money. I wonder who. Let's see where we at right now. Yeah, you see, there's a lot of ladder attacks, and that's what I'm not liking in this. Like every time we have, because the volume is there with us and the buying pressure is there, the books are filling, the order books are filling. I can see the level 2 data, even though it's not like the most accurate thing, but at the end of the day, it does reflect on the price. And it's good to have than not to have. I always view the second data, the level 2 data, order books. That's what I'm looking at, by the way, guys, on my computer. But we stand at a good place, even though it's still risky because, we can, right now at 2085 or 2090, they can from now till Friday drop it underneath 20, and then we lose all that, all that option chain advantage that we have. So that's what we need to keep our eye on. We need to break over that 21, and it looks like that 2090 is becoming support for us. Actually, let me check real quick. Let me take that back. It's 2080. Yeah, 2080 exactly. It's becoming like a support. We keep bouncing right off of that as soon as we hit it. So hopefully we stay above that 2080. Uh, Katie said, why did GME stop running when they took the buy button? Um, did retail freak out and sell? If if they halt AMC and we hold, is there any way them halting can stop the squeeze? Okay, so Katie, here's the answer. There's a yes and a no to it. What happened with GME first, to break it down, was when they took away the buy button, they at that moment there was no shares on the block. So what they needed, without obviously everybody knowing, we know this now, what they initially needed was shares. And by taking the buy button out, that basically made it only possible for whatever was going through the market was a sell order, which meant whoever sold was giving shares straight for them to go ahead and cover with, you know? So yes, there was some selling because back then it was the first move and a lot of people just didn't know much. They seen the numbers like, okay, from $3 to $4 to $484 or $83. That was a big move. So a lot of people that was on that bandwagon, they thought that that was it. That was the squeeze. Because if you remember correctly, before it went up to the 400, when it broke out to the 140, almost $200 range, they said that was it. And when people didn't sell, that's when they forced them by, taking away the button, because they were like, we can't take risk by having these people choosing, let's say it got to 400 or 500. Robinhood, for example, couldn't even stand the margin call that they were issued. So financially speaking, so they basically did that. And when they took the button away, a lot of people did think of selling. Now with AMC, for us right now, and for GME this time around, people know a whole lot better. So the government also knows that we know a whole lot better. So what they did is, in these past few months, they've passed a lot of new halt regulations and suspensions, giving the NYSE, for example, a possibility to halt or suspend a stock from trading for up to a month if they want, if they see fit. And in that case, that's even worse for them, in my opinion, because when you halt or suspend a stock, the FOMO is already going crazy. Yes, there will be a lot of, people worried and scared that as soon as the halt or suspension is taken off, the price will drop, and they will, because they will stack up a lot of sell orders to dump right off the gate. But all that will be for nothing, because at the end of the day, the most important concept is they need the shares so they can cover. So since the float is sold so many times over and over and over again, they're going to need a whole lot more. Like every time, imagine this, when they throw a fish net in the ocean and take us as the fish, as soon as they pull that fish net out and they check what's inside, if they don't reach their target, they're going to keep dumping it back in there. And in between dumping the net once and twice and 3 times and 4 times, they will have suspensions along the way. If that makes any sense. Hopefully that answered it, Katie. If you want me to get on it a little bit more, I could. Nickel Slick, what's up, my guy? How are you doing, brother? Hopefully you're having a great Wednesday. Radwan, what's up? How are you doing? Frankie Muhammad, how are you doing, brother? There's a real one in the chat. Do I like Mullen? I do like Mullen, but here's the thing. So Mullen was really great for me. I've mentioned like these stocks like Mullen, IMPP, HYMC, most of these stocks, because look at the time frame that we're in. I'm different from most other YouTubers' take on this. Some are not high on it, some are high on it, some are, don't like it. For me personally, I look at all these kind of stocks as like the ones I just mentioned as an example. I look at them as a pump and dump schemes for now, and their value, no matter what happens with them, will never be as great as AMC or GameStop. So therefore, my real cheddar is stacked in AMC, GameStop. I have koss, sndl, and bbig, and then all these other plays that we're mentioning, like Mullen. I get inside of, like, I get in them in the pre-market or the after hours and take advantage of the run-ups just to scalp, raise more money out of them, and up my positions in my most important stocks. Besides that, most of these other stocks, they're definitely not long-term for me because this is just, in my opinion, the wrong time to get into long-term positions because we have not even seen the market correction that I'm anticipating to happen. And by correction, I mean a real crazy correction. I mean, look at Tesla. It's back over 1,000, and just a couple weeks ago, it was in the $700 range, and that is even still high for it, according to what pandemic we just came out of. So these stocks like Mullen, HYMC, any of these, I've been warning people also on the channel, on our channel, that these stocks you got to look at them as scalp opportunities. Long term, none of these stocks will give you the turnover that you can get out of AMC or GameStop, or koss, or even cenn. Or a lot of people are sleeping on a workhorse too. It is very quiet, but watch my words. As I always say, watch this stock, and then the very next day or in a few days, it pops like crazy. Um, Workhorse is also a very big sleeper. It is a workhorse behind the scenes. Um, Hopefully that answered it, Frankie. Good morning, Mario. We got a lot of West Coast people in here. I think the rising volume, Weaver said, I think the rising volume is an indicator that something big is coming. What do you think? Or can they dip us to $10 or below again? Now, here's the thing, Weaver. I will start from the end of that question. As far as dipping us to $10, it's you can just about think that's an impossible feat, at least in the short term as we speak now, because that would take, I mean, to drop it $11 right now as we speak is around 21 bucks. To drop it $11, do you know how much shorting and selling they would have to do, which means they'd have to buy out a lot of shares. One thing we do know is there's not enough liquidity in the market as we speak, and everyone is trying to play hot potato with these stocks right now. Like, pay attention to that. You'll see that most holders of these, or nobody wants anything to do with this because all the spotlight is on it, you know? So yeah, so that's one part. As far as the volume, of course, either somebody is obviously doing a little bit of covering, but we will see that by 4 o'clock today. Like I said, by Friday, if we don't stay above the $21 range, then this whole thing was fugazi. You know, we need to stay above that. Um, but I can mainly confirm it that we will not go down. Um, Personally, for me, I've said that we need two straight sessions of 25 to 30% markups or run-ups on two consecutive sessions. And the reason for that, again, is because 30% one day, another 25 to 30% the second day, that makes the price jump up to around the $24 range. And at that point, it'll be extremely impossible for them just in 2 days, Thursday and Friday, to try to drop and have enough money even to try to drop us back down below the 20. You see what I'm saying? They could probably drop us down $2 with a lot of work, like from 24 to 22 or the upper $21 range. But that's why I say that, that's what gives me, that's my indication on going extremely bullish and know that this is the sign indeed for the beginning of the squeeze. So with that being said, hopefully that this is it, because by 4 o'clock tonight, I'm looking for, us to close for sure above the $21 range. And then in the aftermarket, I hope to see us, get another 16 to 15%, which will ultimately give me that indication that, hey, we are, no matter what happens this week, we're breaking that $20 range. And we do so, there's over 100,000 contracts just on that strike price alone, which will amplify the gamma squeeze ramp. It'll be so big that the ramp, once we come off of it, every part is gonna go to so many different pieces. We're gonna break into so many different pieces. Thank you guys, by the way, for liking the video, because we can see that there's a lot more people coming in the chat. How is everybody doing? Um, what's up, Future Whale? How are you doing? I seen you, I think, was it in Pantheon's live stream yesterday, like late at night? Um, That guy's very, 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 very fun. Um, I was one of the ones that panic sold. Not this time. Alan, was it in GameStop or AMC back in January? Halts are normal. Taking the buy button away is a crime. For sure, yes. According, even like the fact that they took the Robin Hood guy, and I just don't want to say his name. The fact that they took him to Congress and gave him what looks like a slap on the wrist, that was big, big for me right there. The fact that they were able to do that, that's how I knew at that time that it's much bigger than just what we see, that even Congress and the government could easily be on this because since when does breaking a crime, the law is equivalent to just a punishment of a talk down on you. That's what they did. They didn't give him like a penalty of 200 million or something like that, and then because of that they take that money and then pass it on to the people that got affected by that. No, they didn't do any of that. They just said you got to be more responsible, you look stupid, and then they had their you know they had their 5 minutes or 5 seconds of fame on live TV. They made it look like they cared. What's up, Ham? How are you doing, Ham? Alan said he made 700% on Mullen, sold half, invested the profit into HYMC. Hey, sounds like fun, brother. I'm very happy that you did. I'm glad that helped, Katie. You also heard that people say that you need FOMO for the squeeze to be successful. Is that true? Um, you kind of don't. Okay, technically you don't, but FOMO comes in regardless. It's kind of like part of the equation. It's kind of like when you um, when you buy a what's the best example I could use here? When you buy a car, you expect to fill it up with gas at the same time. That's just how it is. Or if you buy an electric car, you expect to, charge it up with electricity. So FOMO comes in when they see this, like when they see big volume, big movement, 16, 14, 15% up, they see that. And then there's a big, big part of that FOMO crowd that is operating on technical analysis. So like when they see right now, I'm looking at my laptop and they see they put a stock out and they look at the, let's say, month. Let me change it real quick. Or when they look at the quarter movement, they can see the transition and how bullish the transition that we're going through and is big. It is because the change of trend that we're having or we're going through indicates a lot to technical analysis people that this is a clean breakout above the trend line from going, like, we've been on a trend of going down. So when they see that on a big image going back to a whole quarter or like the last 3 months or the last month moving, then they can see that this is a clean break above that trend line. So we're breaking away from the going down movement and now we're moving up. So to them, that indicates a bottom. Now they all want to jump in and take a position because, let's face it, not everyone is like us or a diamond holder or a holder for the stock because they believe in the stock. And just more than that, a lot of people, to them, is just nothing but a transaction. And it's okay. At the end of the day, that crowd is going to come, and that crowd normally is the first to get out as well. So do we really need them? That's why I said technically no, but they're going to come regardless, and they come with their advantage and they come with their disadvantage as well. Hopefully that answers it. Um, IMPP going to fly soon, buddy. All going to the moon. Ham, this is exactly what I've been saying, and even in my previous chats or previous videos. Obviously, you're subscribed to the channel, so hopefully probably seen it before. I was the one that said that those stocks are gonna constantly keep pumping and dumping, and it's gonna pump up again. So the best way to play those is to scout the great entry points, exit points, and then go back in there again, do the same thing when it dumps again, and go back up with it again. I mean, um, there is profits to look like you can profit looking at it both ways, whether holding it at a great entry point and then just sticking with it for forever or whenever it really does squeeze, if it does, and or you could easily scalp it and keep moving as a trader, you know, boom, boom. Again, I'm not a financial advisor, so I'm not gonna go ahead and tell you when to do and what not to do, but there's many ways to skin a cat, guys, more than one way. Uh, and yes, it is gonna go higher than the 121 for sure. We didn't even see the beginning, guys, of the depressed economy yet. Like that market correction, that global market correction is coming. Mark my words. I'm not looking forward to it, but it's coming. Haha, see, even Alan agrees with my workhorse uh, theory, you know? So yes, it is a banger for sure. Ridwan, I'm assuming that most apes will leave 5 to 10% of shares to right up to the big numbers. My question is collectively, this will amount to many shares. How will the hedges deal with this? Thank you. Well, here's the thing. You have to, it is natural that yes, most people will do that. Now, here's the thing let's take yourself to that moment, okay? Let's say you have sold 95, like 90 to 95% of your shares already. And you sold them. If you sold them, that means you sold them at the great price, which means we were correct overall about our high numbers, because I'm assuming that everybody's numbers are, I'm assuming that those numbers are very, very, very going to be very big, as it ramps up. So if you sold 90 to 95%, that last 5%, you're gonna be like, okay, I don't really care. At that moment where it goes, I already made my money, you know, because I'm hoping that most people do not sell 90 to 95% of their positions um, just right off the bat, like at a really low bracket, and then wait for the last 5 to 10% to make the difference, I guess. Um, Maybe that's a strategy. I mean, who knows if that makes sense to somebody? By all means. To me, it just doesn't. I'm looking at the short covers as we go along, and I'm looking at the moving daily volume every single day, to make sure that I am selling my shares for the best price possible, that I see fit at that moment. Because again, you have to have a collective understanding of everyone else. I'm not with everyone else. You and me can have that same understanding, but what if everyone else does not do that? How do you protect yourself from that? So it is good that you're only dealing with 5 to 10% at that point, so that way you're not totally screwed on the rest. If everything doesn't check out and people really do not do what you were asking in that question. But the bottom line is, at that point, if that's the the analogy you follow, or the strategy you follow, at the end, that's not going to matter much, because again, it's just 5-10%. You already made your money by that point. Alan, cenn is the ticker that bought out naked. Yes, it is. The ticker symbol already changed. They did they did everything to that stock by the book already. So like, it's primed to move for sure forward. Um, let's see. Tanet said, I'm excited about GME and Loopring partnership announcement. Been in Loopring since 25 cent. Yes, me too. I'm very, very, we mentioned it in the channel a lot. I'm very, very, very big on bullish on that. So I can't wait to see where this takes us, because I don't think they're gonna they're gonna wait until everything is on blockchain. You see what I'm saying? Let's see. Um, are we in the end game, Young? Um, okay, well, like I said, by today, if we don't finish above that 21, then I doubt it. But we finish 21 by 4. After market, we get another 15-20%. Then I can officially tell you we're in the end game for sure. Not financial advice. How are you doing, Yag? Um, as we have been watching this, that's what was we seems asking. As we've been watching this from long, Whenever GME rise, AMC follows. Will this same happens when the squeeze is about to end? Will both follow one another? Um, Okay, so here's my take on this, Wasim. I think that we will go up together, but anyone that tells you that we were going to be the same during the squeeze does not know much. I can tell you that, because at that point, it makes no sense that we both run to the same brackets or the same area, simply because of how many that has to be covered. Like if there is way more, like you got to look at the standings here that GME has a much smaller float that to AMC, so you can't screw with it just as much. But in the same time, how many more people bought AMC as well? Because I can easily tell you that AMC has been purchased more than GME simply because of the price on the stock itself, you know. And I'm big in both of them. If you're a follower of my channel, you know that I have big positions in both. So at some point, I see one going away from the other during the squeeze, because at that point, there's no more, there's no more algorithms. Everything's going to be broken. Um, it's going to look like there's this video game called Outlanders. I used to play it back when I was a kid, a long time ago, and it reminds me, that's the scene that reminds me best of what it will look like during the squeeze. You're gonna see spikes like out of nowhere, cenn spiking up out of nowhere. You're gonna see koss suddenly out of nowhere, just like going up from a weird $20 or $30 to suddenly spiking up to above 100, and then get halted. And then it's gonna be a series of fires all over the market, and the system is gonna be on edge the whole time, because every few moments you're going to see a suspension on a certain stock. So it can be on the back burner while the fire department, which is at this point the system itself, the algorithms, is rushing over to try to turn off fires in a different stock. And then that gets halted because it's moving and they can't stop it. Then it gets put on the back burner. Then their attention turns to another stock. It's going to be madness. It's going to be madness. That's just the way I see it. Hopefully that gives you the image, Wasim. Um, and Danette said, yes. So yeah, FOMO works on the opposite direction as well. That is why downtrend is so severe. Yeah, this is why I said they come with their advantage and their disadvantage, but they come regardless. Whether we welcome them in with open arms or not, they're gonna come in. They're just, most of them are technical analysis day traders and scalpers. When they see opportunity, they're gonna jump right on it. Best believe. Joe said, bro, not to be negative, but this play reminds me of a multi-level marketing. Guess what, Joe? It is, you're right. I mean, you're absolutely correct. But here's the thing. Look who we're going against. We're going against the world's, not just elites or the 1%. I wouldn't be surprised, guys. A lot of people are not covering this, but I wouldn't be surprised if most of the backers of this are the richest men in the world. So like I wouldn't be surprised if reports come out and they have, for example, Bezos and Gates, backing this, or Warren Buffett, backing some big hedge funds. So indirectly, it's not him in the spotlight, but it's his money that's working through these hedge funds. So the hedge fund is in the name of the hedge fund, but whose money is it? That big time guy, one of the world's wealthiest people, if not most of them, are in on this, because that's how they keep inclining their wealth, accumulating their wealth, is through manipulating the bottom 90%, which is all of us at this point. There's no more middle class, or we're getting to the point where the middle class is being eradicated as we see. And this is just no way for the US life and the way of life to keep going, because we know that's what makes us different from all other populations, is that we don't take that. I mean, you guys see, just for a certain amount of people, just for their like back in when Trump was on and as president, and when he was taken off, when people felt like there was manipulation in the elections, they all went and stormed the Capitol. I mean, that's just show you that was a small group of people. Imagine when it's like this, when the whole middle class is being, sorry, I was getting the call, but when the whole middle class is being eradicated, you know, everyone at that point have nothing to lose. Everyone will stand up. Everyone will march. Everyone will move. And that's one thing that's special about us being in in the United States of America. Um, how's it going, Angel? How are you doing? So Katie said, when they halt, does that mean no pre-market after market orders will be able to cause sentiment during a halt? Now, here's the thing, Katie. There are no halts in the pre-market or in the aftermarket. So this is why if you probably are getting you're probably asking this question because if many YouTubers say, aftermarket, all the craziness about aftermarket and pre-market, you're gonna have spikes. This is why you will. This is the educational reason of why you would have spikes in the aftermarket or the pre-market because there are no halts during that time frame. That's when, yes, like most likely you will see the most drastic move on going up, because it's just going in, buying orders and selling orders, but no one can halt it because the halt stopped by 4 p.m. Um, Future say, honestly, according to the options chain, we should already be running like crazy. No, here's the thing, Future. We've seen these gimmicks. Now, take it from me and look back in time, okay? Back in January and back in the June, let's take it to the June run up. In the June run up, we had very, very, very similar runs. Now, after the June run up, we had runs where it ran up $4, $5, $6, $7 in one day. And they were able, before Friday, they were able to chop all that away. And everyone that played options that week lost all their money. Basically, they got scalped. Now, this is different times, of course, because the money is different. There's many rules and regulations that have went into place since last year. But looking at the option chain, the $20 strike price is the most lucrative one and the most important one for us for this week, at least just for this week, for this part of the movement. We close above that, you're going to see next week that 15% you saw yesterday and the 15% you're seeing today, that will be child's play next week if we close above that $21. That's why I say 21, because 20 is the strike price you need to break, but we need to be above that so we can reach the break-even point. Angel, can you make a video on setting up limit orders? Okay. As far as I'm sorry, Angel, like as far as on a certain platform or just any limit orders in particular? What's up, Stacy? Is it Stacy or Stacia? Sorry, the A at the end, me being bilingual, is up to you. Tell me which one to pronounce better. Bezos is and always have used capital LLC. Yeah, see, I wouldn't be surprised if they're behind it. Didn't say I agree with you. Bezos for sure. Maybe Gates too, but I don't think Buffett is in on it. Yeah, maybe not. But here's one thing. You know that he runs the Berkshire Hathaway stock, and it was always mind-boggling to me to see that whenever we were down, Berkshire Hathaway was always up. Now, whenever we were up, Berkshire Hathaway was down. It was just like a side note. It was funny. Let me see. Berkshire Hathaway. Look, I can't even spell anymore today. It's not coming up on here. Danette, maybe you can see the price of Berkshire Hathaway. Is it in the green or in the red today? It looks like, whoa. It looks like it's way up today. Tiara, how are you doing? Hey. Stacia, okay. We'll definitely keep that in mind. Thanks for the correction. And sorry if I mispronounced it wrong earlier. Um, you have to set up pre and post market, and if you set up limit orders, will they be filled then? Fidelity and TD Ameritrade. Now, here's the thing. Yes, you can set them up on either platforms. I have both platforms as well. But here's the thing, Angel. You got to keep in mind. Do you trust those platforms to sell it for you on that time of the run up? Because here's the thing. If you're waiting for them to automatically fill in the orders, like because you set the pre-order or the selling order, if they do you trust them with making the sale? I mean, what if they, you log into your account and you see that it did not go through and the number did go much beyond those limits that you've placed, but it went back down by then, and they could easily come out to you and say that, hey, well, it was such a volatile movement, by the time we tried to process your order, it didn't go through on that price. And then you'll be rushing to try to accept whatever, breadcrumbs at a lower price. So I would probably watch out personally for me. I would say that I'm not putting any pre-orders or limit orders because I want to be there to witness it. I will put the limit order as I see the price that I see, like as soon as I see it get into it, I will obviously wait a few more, just probably seconds to see it go above it, just a little bit above it, so that when I process the limit sell, it's going to be for that number that I wanted. So like, for example, if I wanted to sell, hypothetically speaking, at 8,000 a share for AMC or let's say GameStop, whichever. If I wanted to sell at 8,000 and we see it get to 8,000, I'm going to obviously see it get to 81, 8,200 before I press 8,000 or 850. You never want to sell at a whole number. That's just something that we say, like they always said in the stock market, because once you break that number, sometimes it's either too hard for the incline to reach that number, and before it reach it, it might go down. Or if you break it, you're gonna cleanly break it and go even way higher. You see what I'm saying? So my numbers are gonna be somewhere not like, as a complete just number. So it's gonna be, if I'm looking at the 8,000 area, it's gonna be either 7,800 or it's gonna be 8,200, something like that. And that's when I will put the limit orders as I see the price inclining, because I do know that when it settles, the price has to be a little bit higher than the current price on the market. And then that time, the volatility is going to be so high. There's no price that is going to be in front of you. Like right now, we're looking at 21, 2092, 21, 2098. That is easy, even though the volume is up. But in those times, then that price is going to be 7,800, 7,601, 74, 77. It's like crazy moves on the up and the down swings. Let's see. Hopefully that answers that, Angel. Danette says Jeff Bezos began his career as a hedge funder in New York before leaving to start Amazon. Yeah. Somehow all these guys are in the same country club, as I always refer to them as. They're all in the same country club. They take care of each other, and then they, somehow they put each other within that circle within themselves so that they can make sure that they're always good. It's always someone from within that's in such and such position that benefits them. Future, well, Buffett is against American stocks, so he might be. Yes, I would not put it past him. Crypto is banging right now. Yeah, and that's interesting too, by the way, guys. It looks like it looks like either someone is propping up the markets in the wake of the like the Federal Reserve issuing that that whole talk and that press talking about that they will stop the easy money policy, and then they raise the hikes. So they're trying to make it look that way, that it's because of that, even though I know that it has nothing to do with any of that. I do know that what I personally think, that when we will officially completely squeeze, or have chosen that we will look at a crypto that is very, very, very vulnerable, a crypto market that is very vulnerable. Because again, remember, none of the regulations have passed completely yet for the crypto situation, because they're trying to regulate it, and I don't want it to be regulated. Eventually, anybody who's a big fan of crypto would not want crypto to be regulated, because that's what makes it that interesting and great. But when it gets regulated, we have to see how they're regulating it, how they're holding it, how is it going to be managed, and at that point, that's when you will see. I believe at that point you will see where the bottom is, and that's when you will start climbing, because there's no shape or form where crypto is not the future, or is not what gonna be taken over as the monetary system in the planet. Yeah, see, look, Berkshire is down 0.32 today, which is a lot, by the way. With a stock that's in the $400,000-500,000 range, that 0.32 is, we would love to take it on AMC right now just to see it on our stock price. See that difference? That would be amazing to look at in our stock. Um, um, that market is better. There's always limits. Samira, how are you doing? Is 4K to 5K a doubtable target? Um, Anything is a doubtable. At this point, anything is a doubtable target, because we can't, we have to gauge the sentiment of the holders, which is all of us. Like right now, us here are talking about it, so that's great, and we might have similar views, so we might hold the same holding pattern. But who's to say when the number is, for example, at 800 or 900, who is still gonna hold through that? The only way to find that out without having to trust someone saying, "Trust me, bro," is by looking at the volume, obviously, the moving volume, and the data from the shorts covering, So we got to put those two hand in hand, so I can at least get a better idea on, hey, where are we standing, where are we at? And obviously, along the way, I'm going to be looking to unload certain percentages of my portfolio, just so that I can make sure I'm safe. At the end of the day, what is this whole thing about, guys, right? It's changing your life, not just, um, you know, YOLOing or being a part of something that's just going to take you, I guess, that you could say later that, hey, I have a story to you, kids. I was part of this. What'd you get out of it? Oh, well, nothing. Well, how come everyone else did? Well, I don't want to be on that side of the story. um, let's see. Tiara says, great, thank you, thank you. Was able to hop into AMC before the run up, and I gained 7% on Workhorse from your comment last video. So you are much appreciated. Well, thank you so much. I am really humbled, and I highly appreciate you. At the end of the day, this is the point of everything that I'm doing here. I see a lot of confusion on YouTube. I see a lot of channels that like I don't watch what they say, because a lot of channels makes me when I see something wrong or I hear something wrong, I can't just hold it in. And I've seen so much of that to the point where I was like, you know what, this is it. I have to do this, and get people on the way of thinking when you're trading the stocks, the trading throughout the market. It's not just there's thousands of stocks, and I understand that my favorite stock, for example, is AMC out of all of them, even though I have positions in GME, AMC, koss, sndl, bbig, Workhorse, and tlry. A lot of people again is sleeping on it. You've seen the monster move it did in the pre-market, and all that was taken away today. So don't think that's the end. That was just something that someone was roaring. That was a stock roaring outside. And in these next few days, in the near future, you'll see what they will do. But there's a bunch other, it's not just those. There's a bunch other, and many channels were just asleep on that. Many channels were pushing out the agenda either of, oh, it's only going to be AMC and GameStop, and then after that, we'll have to watch what stocks. Well, wrong, because I personally think all the meme stocks are going to squeeze at the same time, at least majority of them, and whichever ones have survived throughout this whole year and a half of down movement, on the whole meme stock group, those are the ones that are going to run now as we speak. Most of the ones I mentioned to you have all survived, and their short interest have even increased. So what we saw from koss, for example, flying to 100 last January, over 100, that's still also child's play compared to what really it will go up to ultimately, which also should give you an inclination and give you an idea on how great and how big the potential for AMC and GameStop is on the high numbers, to go to the high numbers. And that's what I'm looking forward to. It makes me so happy to hear stuff like that. So much appreciated, Tiara. You're welcome, Angel. If you need anything else, please let me know. I definitely can, speak more on the market sell orders, I guess, at limits or at market price. Let's see. Exiguous 1864. Man, these names are great. You guys come up with really great names. Maybe how much do you think the shorts are hurting? Do you think they have more tricks or cash up their sleeves? Yes and no. They have a lot of cash. Hurting for sure, because they are waiting, as you can see, like they're waiting day to day. We're holding them. The fact that they're held down, this is one thing that most of you guys have to remember for sure, that the whole market have been cornered for over a year just simply because no one is getting out of the meme stocks, because of the amount of shorts and leverage that we put on these stocks, and the counterparties against us that are fighting us on this. No other stock can move freely. The whole rest of the market is held hostage. And as we speak, and by the way, guys, remember when I was saying after those repo and reverse repo transactions, we're gonna start seeing that rebound normies. So when you saw GameStop at 10%, as we were speaking just a little bit ago, now it's at 16. AMC is continuing to move forward ahead, 3 extra percent. Now it's at 18%, almost 19. So this is good sight for sore eyes that for many months now have not seen AMC or GameStop do some really positive movements. And just say I have Fidelity and TD Ameritrade. Yes, as I said, I have both, and I also have a couple more accounts. And as far as like, if you're questioning, Angel, like what do we have as far as like if you have pre-market or after hours trader, I know I can't remember what Fidelity does. I know TD Ameritrade will allow you to do so, as far as I've seen, but on Fidelity and TD Ameritrade, on both of those, I have majority of them, like majority of my shares are in my Fidelity, in my TD Ameritrade, but majority of my option plays are in Fidelity and TD Ameritrade, kind of split, if that makes any sense. And again, for options, there's no such thing as pre-market or after market. It's all throughout in the market hours. Let's see. Sheen is saying that definitely Bezos. Let's see. So Axiju said AB or anyone. So hey, everyone, pay attention to this one. Is there really a liquidity crunch going on? Trying to understand how much longer these big banks can keep fueling these hedge funds games. Okay, so there is a money crunch, and here's why. Here's the thing. When the easy money liquidity, as we were looking at the repo and reverse repo transactions being at 1.8 trillion today, banks get the money. Now, here's the thing. they love the fact that they can get the money, but they have so much money on their hands and so many assets to park. This is why the repo and reverse repo is at this high rate. Now, here's the thing. When the feds completely stop pumping that money basically, and in the same time, or dwindle that amount, and the same time start dumping their assets on the on the market, this is when you will start seeing a whole market-wide correction, everything falling, um, like just from the sky, straight up from the sky all the way down to the bottom of the earth. Now, does that affect us? No, in a way, our stocks are over leveraged on the short. So when the other stocks are falling, like Amazon's and all the other stocks, when they're falling, those are also still in the same portfolio, investing portfolio of the same people that we're going against. And this is why I was saying earlier that we would have them cornered, because they can't invest more or get out of those other positions while they're still short here, because any sudden spike in prices, whether up or down, if it's up on our side, it hurts them. If it's down on their side from the other stocks, it also can trigger margins, because they're already down on these short positions, way over leveraged, and those other stocks are also dwindling, which means their portfolio is falling in value. And that means banks will issue margins to them, and they would have to get money to get out of the margin position. So it's not them just getting margin means end game. No, them getting margin, they got margin so many times in this movement as we've been going, but they've always had enough. They were able to get money from somewhere to cover their margin requirement, whatever that requirement is. Now, here's the thing. Those, you've seen that Trigafera company that this I think it was Monday that came out, or last Friday that came out asking for help. They reached out to BlackRock, they reached out to Blackstone, they reached out to everyone. They reached out to Mecca, they reached out to the Vatican. Please give us some money, and everyone is not even answering their phone call, because they know that the easy money policy is coming to an end, and everyone right now wants to hold on to their cash. All that cash that was being given throughout this whole past year, you got to remember how many CEOs and bank managers and chairmen issued crazy bonuses to themselves. This last year, this last quarter of the fourth quarter of 2021, that was the record. I remember seeing it. There was a record in bonuses issued out to majority of these either hedge fund managers or bank CEOs and chairmen. So they made so much money. Where do you think that money came from? Swindling it from here and there. Now that it's in their private accounts, not just sitting in their vaults to attack us with, at the end of the day, you got to look at their word. As much as that they're connected with each other and they're all in the same country club, you got to remember they all have one thing in common, which is money greed. More than any of us, that's what ultimately kills them, is the greed that they have, that each one is trying to take more for himself, that ultimately when it comes time to pay, no one wants to pay. And that will be eventually their downfall, which might be what we're looking at right now. Like these moments is their downfall, because no one wants to give. No one wants to pay that tab. Let's see. Is it possible that we squeeze by the end of next month? Of course. We might not even be in this by the end of next month. Possibly. If this is it, then yeah, by the end of next month, we won't even be in this. Unless they trigger the NYSE triggers like a 1 month suspension on the stock. That would be weird. I don't see that happening again, because if they do that, do you know how much more FOMO will be crazy? People will have a month to go and look underneath their daddy's blanket, grandma's, pillow everywhere to try to have enough money by the end of that month so they can dump it all in at once when the doors open. So they will not let FOMO get to that point. But if they do, hey, it's their loss. um, Thanks for what you're doing. So much confusion in social media, especially in YouTube. Brian, if I am at any point being able to clarify anything, I'm very humbly grateful for that. So I'm glad that I can be that for you or anyone else. And Samira, but on Fidelity, you can only sell limit order price. I think when in pre and aftermarket. Correct me if I'm wrong. I have not attested to that, so if anybody can correct us on that, please go ahead and do so in the comment section. I always tell people to call banks and brokers. They're actually really nice people, and most people don't realize that they can call them, to get explanations on how to do things. Yes, actually, Future Well, good point that you brought that up. So when you call this is what I called, for example, my banks for after the squeeze. When you have huge capital, okay, and you have a lot of money, and at that point you're gonna be like, just so you would know, your ordinary bank account only insures you for up to 150,000 as far as FDIC insurance. So if you're transferring a lot more than that, you're the one who is taking a big chance on possibly losing more, because all they can insure you for is just for that 150. So if you're transferring them a couple $1,000,000, or depending on however the squeeze goes, then obviously you're going to be looking at opening about 10 to 12 bank accounts just so that you can ensure that you can protect most of your money. So those were some of the questions I had to call for. And as I said yesterday in yesterday's stream, I think that I called in Chase. That's one of the banks I deal with for my business, one of my businesses. So when I called them, they were like, they have a particular division. It costs a little bit more in fees, but it's a particular division for that, that wealthy class. That's where they put their money, and you get a lot of privileges with that. They can be your market maker as well for you. Like they can be your broker. So you could give them money and orders from your bank, call your private broker and tell them, hey, I want to get this position on this stock, on this, for this much. And they can issue all that for you. You don't have to go through no Webull, no Fidelity, no trade, TD Ameritrade, or nothing. So read into that. I'm not saying, I'm not giving financial advice on which one to go to and which one not to go to, but read in onto that. Remember, it seems very odd that the most wealthy people, that's how they store their money in these kind of places, and these are the most haven or fraud havenless, or the best way to say it, those are the places where you never hear that, oh, there was some sort of cyber attack and a lot of people got robbed, for their money. You hear a lot of that everywhere and anywhere except in those places, which again makes sense because the wealthiest is always the most protected. So if I love my money so much, I want it to be most protected. So I'm going to put it in a place where it's going to be out of harm's way. Okay, so April looks really good for all means. Yes, Alan, it looks really, really promising. Can't wait to see what's in store for us. Right now, as we speak, AMC is still on an incline. So is GameStop. GameStop's holding at 18%. We're almost breaking that 20%. We did just periodically, but we're going back to it. Let's see, I'm looking at the 1 hour range. Yeah, a lot of buying. I'm loving this movement, guys. I'm loving this movement. Okay. Let's see. Axidius. AB, by any chance, have you taken a position on VIX or UVXY in order to grow your AMC and GME position? I've done a lot of VIX options previously. I'll tell you that because it's one of the easier personally speaking, this is not financial advice. It's one of the easier ones to play options on because you can easily see the trend of it in the like at a certain time when the market opens, you can see the trend on the VIX moving. So you can gauge it also from this. Whenever the meme stocks have seemed to be up, do you see the VIX is always down? So there's not basically much volatility, which is weird. But whenever the meme stocks are down, the VIX is always high, and the higher it goes, it always inclines that or indicates that there's some crazy volatility in the market, and there's basically going to be something that's moving up. So when the VIX was almost reaching its all-time or its 52-week high this session, we were able, for me, I was able to gauge that soon there was a move coming up on our hands that we had to see. It was like in the $34-$35 range, and I was like, wow, before it gets to 38. Now it's back in the 20s, I believe. When I looked at it last, it was yesterday. But yeah, I did utilize it. I've used so many different stocks, just so you would know, brother, to up my position. The most last one was last week. The most big notable one was last week on GME. I played some straddle option positions, and it's a little different than, just calls or puts. It's a combination of both, but it protects you from both. So in case there's a big surge in price in either direction, you're protected in both ways. You're not going to be screwed. Versus if you just got in call options and let's say the earnings came back and they were terrible as they did, not that it is terrible, but like the price action was terrible when the earnings came back, then you get screwed if you just had calls. And vice versa, if the report came back great and the price hikes and you have puts, then you also get screwed on your puts. So there is more than just one way to add to your positions, guys, or to play options, especially when you get into the option world. So you have to dive in that world in a different, complete manner. Hopefully that answers the question, brother. Alan said hush hush money. Yep. And then Axel just said, thought on property development out in China going bankrupt. Very puzzling. Our 3 global rating agencies group have not put them down as D for default status as of yet. Well, yeah, because by the time they put that, one thing we've seen that when AMC or GameStop, this is just an example, are surging. Look, yesterday there was no articles about it. Today there's a lot of articles out. So guess what? The news always comes after the situation. So they will put those ratings, I believe, right after the world is fully crashed for no one to read. They'll put it up and say, oh, okay, so now it's officially defaulted. And by then, everybody would have already tasted the wrath of the whole situation. So yeah. 22 looks like hard resistance for AMC. They're doing everything they can to keep it from going above 22. Here's the thing, Alan, I would put it this way. I don't think 22 is like, because we reached 22 and then we went back down from there. I don't think it's as big as what is believed as like, or at least some YouTubers are making it out to be. I think that we will, in the aftermarket, and we might not even get to the aftermarket. We might, like, what time is it right now? It is almost 3. I believe that we break that by 4 o'clock. We have a very solid chance of breaking this, unless they saved all their ammo. And I don't think so, because throughout the day they've been chopping us down. So yeah, I don't see that happening at all, brother. I see us breaking the 22, and then hopefully in the after hours we get another 15 to 20% gain hopefully by 6 o'clock. So if we get that, starting around 6 o'clock, like yesterday, what we said yesterday, if it does happen, then you can book that this is officially, educationally, the beginning of the squeeze. Not just guessing on it. We're gonna make educational guesses on that, and that's the best way to make, so because you got to be safe, when it comes to this, like, and it's money. It's not just what I want to be. I want this to be the squeeze, but if it's not, it's our job to figure out before we get screwed or screw others with us, while we're looking at this. You see what I'm saying, guys? That's the most important part. So Alan, thank you for confirming. Fidelity have limit orders for pre and after market. There we go. And Angel said, I thought it was 250K. I don't know. Maybe some banks are different, but I do know that many of them are 150. Don't worry, that won't matter much. When 150, 250, it's the same thing when you have a few $1 million after the squeeze. I hope so. Um, Look at Exodus. So AD already ahead of you. Look at you. Got set up a credit union account 2 months ago for just this reason. Don't trust BOA and other major banks. All of our over leveraged per Jan Yellen. LOL. Well, guys, there you go. Look at that. We got someone who basically have started already a credit union just like 2 months ago. So he's on top of all that stuff. Good for you, brother. And look at that. We just cleanly broke 22, guys, as we're speaking. Didn't we say that? Am I Baby Yoda? I know I don't look like him, but am I predicting the future? I don't know. We'll see. Janet Yellen looks like the White Walkers. If you guys watched the Game of Thrones, any Game of Thrones players here or watchers here, she literally looked like one of the White Walkers. No pun intended, Janet. Don't screw me on my on the treasury bill. And look at Andrew. I created a self-directed brokerage account in my 401k and bought shares of AMC also. Wow, look at you guys. Very savvy. I'm jelly. And now we dropped again under 22. Which means volatility is even getting higher and higher. Can anybody tell me, I can't see it right here, what is our volume? Let's see. Orders. There are no orders. Yeah, just number figure of where is our volume for AMC. Okay. And Danette said, what is your view on BlackBerry? Okay, great question. So I've initially, like months ago, did a huge research on BlackBerry, like big, wide, like huge research. And here's what I came up with. So besides the fact that it owns, or it's an ocean of patents that it owns that are worth billions of dollars, you got many that are not that important, but there's quite a few that are very important, and those are money. But the most important thing is that from my research months ago, I was able to gather that they're working on this thing with IBM, so that they can install it in self-driving cars systems, kind of like the voice recognition or something like that. And one thing that is known is that BlackBerry has one of the most, if not the most secure encryptions on the network. See what I'm saying? So like all these things they have patents for, and just that project with IBM to go into cars, depending on who they get it through. I mean, if they get just a universal agreement with many different manufacturers, do you know how much money that is? And the fact that it's super shorted like this, it's mind-boggling. BlackBerry was one of the stocks, and I feel bad for saying this, but again, this is a stock market, guys. There's no such thing as feeling bad. Is one of the stocks that I rated so many times, whether buying shares, playing calls, doing even shorted BlackBerry, so many different times. But when it's squeeze time like this right now, the last thing I would be thinking of is any shorting at all for this, because right now is one of the ones that is primed to squeeze as well. So I'm high on BlackBerry, Danette. Hopefully that answers it. So what do you think about AMC volume? Okay, what I think about the volume, I think there's obviously a lot of buying. I called it yesterday that FOMO should start today, and as I opened up the order books today, before I even started talking to you guys, the order books, like, or the volume was above 120 million already. So you can see that yes, FOMO is beginning to jump in because again, I told you most of FOMO guys are most majority of the time are technical analysis people, whether they're gurus or not. It is what it is. But again, they're technical analysis people that see a complete difference in the trend. Sometimes guys, technical analysis, when you watch a technical analysis video, sometimes they make it over confused, like very confusing. So they can make it seem like it's a lot of work and you're not in that league or whatever, but it's really not that difficult. Majority of the times, the most important thing is just looking at the chart and looking at the times. You can look at it for over the year average. You can look at it for the last 3 months, which is the quarter, the last month, the last 5 minutes, the last minute, and last hour. You can look at that, and if you see all those, for example, for this one, scalpers is the easiest play for them to look at these meme stocks right now, because as of yesterday, when they saw the 15 initial percent pop, that was a change of direction in the trend that we were moving into. We were in a falling wedge since June of 2021, and that trend just changed yesterday with 15% run up. So for FOMO buyers and technical analysis people, they saw that as their buying point because they were able to verify that that was officially the bottom, at least up till now. So they jump in, they scalp it, and like I said before, they come with their advantages and disadvantages because they are day traders. When they come in, they're the last ones to jump in and the first ones to jump out. That's just the way it is. So that's the advantage and the disadvantage of them coming in. But again, we want their volume to come in because they could initiate that initial gamma ramp. Just we need them for that volume, for extra buys. Somebody gets squeezed, margined, they have to cover. We don't care about the scalpers. They can get out first. We're diamond hand apes. Hopefully that answers it. Boo. What is a good book to learn options for beginners? Okay. Books will be, I feel like it depends. Okay, so here's for me. For me, I'm the kind of individual who learn better by visual, watching it visually. But if you were to just if I was to read a book on it, I might not get it as much. I need practical evidence or showmanship. So I have to see that way. You can look. There's a lot of YouTubers out there that put out a lot of good options, like beginning options entries and how to begin with that. Eventually, you're gonna get to a point where you're just gonna have to kind of go about it yourself. So like for me, I've learned from just a few dollars. Back in 2018, that's when I started that journey into options. And I started with just trying out the regular calls and the puts versions, and I didn't go YOLO or any of that. You got to remember one thing I will tell you though, times of an individual, because I have a lot of friends who jumped into options, and over the long period of time that brought them down because they became like gamblers, investing only in options because they saw that stocks don't move as high as options when the profits come in. But the problem is options have so much more risk than stocks, because stocks, no matter what happened, you still hold your value unless the ticker symbol goes to zero, and that's like almost impossible to happen. It's very rare to happen unless you went and chose and did no research or nothing, and you end up finding the wrong stock. So that's one thing you got to watch out for is, are you a person, if you ever been to a casino before, have you felt like could be a problem for you? Because if that's the case, options will be the same thing, much worse, because you'll be in your hands as you walk in at all times, legal gambling casino in your hand. So that's basically how I put it best, but there's a lot to read up on. Like I said, watch a lot of YouTube. There's some YouTubers that are very verified. I forgot. I can do a research for you. If you comment on this video afterwards, Andrew. I'll do some research and I'll probably put some names, I don't care which YouTube channel anybody goes to. At the end of the day, I want everybody here to benefit from the information that we all, push around to each other. So I'll probably go ahead and put out some names for you to look at for people that have already did great work on detailed videos on options so that it can make so much sense. But again, like I said, before you go down that route, you got to know yourself as an individual first. If you're a gambler mindset, you might want to stay away. If you're not a gambler mindset, then options might be the single greatest thing that you have met. But yeah, hopefully that put it out there. What do I think about the Fed rate hikes in May? I think that this is something like those hikes should have happened back in early 2021, like literally like in February or March of 2021. And this is why this is gonna escalate to a market crash when it comes, because it's like a wound, guys. If you don't deal with it right there and then, it's going to get infected. And when it gets infected, then it gets bigger and it starts spreading. And eventually you get to a point where you have to amputate it. Hopefully, our economy does not get to that point, but we are definitely in that direction, whereas we're have been overlooking the problems of the pandemic, having the whole economy shut down, which have never happened before. Like the stock market is not designed for that. It's just a machine that is supposed to always be plugged in, except on the weekends. And even on the weekends, it's doing back end stuff. In the pandemic, all that came to an end, and that is where the line is drawn. After we popped out of the pandemic initially, right there and then, the Feds needed to do a combination of pumping money in the market and then just for a certain amount of time, just to get it moving. It's kind of like putting some gas in a car that is out of gas, just until it gets to the gas station. And by the time it gets to the gas station, you need to stop. That's it. You fill it up with gas and then you stop. Well, instead of that, the Feds have been pumping the market more and more and more and more, make the market like a crack addict. I mean, this is the best analogy I can give you. And now the market is addicted to what the Feds is doing, so that to the point where the Fed, whenever the Fed cut off that support or the crack, you're gonna have a lot of craziness happening. I'm not laughing about it, guys. It is pretty serious stuff, but I'm sarcastically, like, this is my sarcastic laugh because I'm so pissed at how horrible of a job the Feds have done and the Treasury. And obviously it's because there's a lot of interest. I mean, you guys seen all these articles about Janet Yellen, or even Powell, whether Janet Yellen making so much money from speaking fees in where, or Jerome Powell trading in the blackout phase when no official was supposed to trade, but he made many trades. It's a broken system. So I just hope that the payout or those rate hikes that are gonna come, they don't eventually get us to that point where a crackhead without crack. That's just I hope that does not kill the channel as well. So hopefully that answers it. MSM said today that inflation was good for stocks. Yes, exactly. That you said the GTFO LOL. That's my same thought and response. Exegeus. Multiple accounts with multiple people, such as your kids, 250,000 per for each one account per TD. All right, thanks for that info, Sheen. Jay said broke 22. Yeah, remember when we broke it then? I believe we're gonna go above it. Like what we just needed to break it initially, and now that we broke it to the 22.35, I believe before close, we might even go above that. As you can see right now, I don't see any major attacks happening yet. Like it's we had when we went up to the 235, that's when they launched their all out one big red candle, as you can see. But I don't see anything else besides that. Like they did some sell-offs then. Guys, it's really tough for them to try to fight this. Like it's really tough. But like I said, We need to see what happens in the aftermarket. We need at least another 10 to, I hope 15 to 20%, but I'll take 10% as well, because that will make it 2 straight sessions of at least having all that. And then tomorrow, hopefully we don't lose that in the intraday, you know? We're gonna see. Alan said, I told you. Should be the slogan for our channel, guys. Whenever any of us see any of us anywhere else on any other channel, anywhere other stream, if we're all gonna just say, I told you. We say that a lot. I wonder why we're not the biggest community on YouTube, right? Hedgie's scared of GME around 149 today. I bet they're bleeding from there. LOL, especially with the borrow rate at 15%. You think? I like you, Exodus. Not because of the comment on the where they're bleeding from, but the fact that it is the truth. Yes, they are hurting. They are. Can you imagine 149, 15% borrow rate? You're already over leveraged on it. You've been shorting it to oblivion already, as is. It's like a bag, or yeah, it's like a cup with water in it, and then somehow you you have a hole in that cup, in that plastic cup. No matter how much it's filled with, it's gonna, no matter how much money they keep dumping on it, it's gonna all dry out, and eventually the inevitable is gonna come out. Oh, look, they're launching their attack right now. They're trying their best to do keep us under those levels. But right now, our strength is around 2150, even though we're at 2130. Let's see. But the MACD is around 2149. So yeah, we're still good. We're still very good as far as moving. Volatility is starting now, but watch that last 15 minutes, I would say 20 to 15 minutes of the session. Hopefully they don't close us underneath 21, because that would be a little bit scary. It will be less than the percentages that I was looking forward to as we were speaking. Yeah, Danette, thanks for the reporting live for us for the losses. I believe those what you're saying, that's the losses on the day so far. 147 million, 146 million. Oh, as far as you're talking about volume, yeah, 146 million. So yeah, that definitely, that there goes your answer as far as if FOMO have kicked in. Yes, when was the last time you seen AMC above 30 or 40 million in this past few months? It's been averaging around 30 to 40 million on daily volume transactions. Now we have 146, 47. So you can tell how much is what's happening right now. And best believe, guys, majority of those big sales, those big red candles that you're seeing, since everyone or majority of the people are holding, those are institutional shares that they're borrowing and dumping on the market, and they're paying them off. I won't be surprised if they already have some sort of agreements with them from prior, like, hey, load up and buy as many shares. Since we have to deal with real and synthetic shares regardless, you might as well buy it right now. And when we're at this low average around 20, 21, 15, those low areas, remember, most people bought AMC wise, most people started buying after the 30 and the $40 level back in the June, before it started running up when FOMO then, because not everybody has been here since January or even before that of 2021. But yeah, again, most of these could easily be shares that they're purchasing from institutes, and institutes don't have to report any 13F filings until a month later. But with the transparency rules, I think that is going to come down to a much, much less time frame. So we're going to see a lot of things great on the horizon. Volume is going up more and more every day. Yep. I can see us tomorrow or Friday possibly depending on what happens today, but eventually we're gonna start seeing that 1 billion. Like when the squeeze is on, you're gonna see 1 and 2 and 3 billion volume in one day, especially after suspensions or halts. You're gonna see like a crazy 100 million injected in volume just after a halt. We had 81 million yesterday. We should double it today. We on the path. What? It's going to take only about a few more minutes before we get to that. And yes, really interested in the after hours exegesis. That's exactly what I'm looking forward to, because obviously having another 15% today run up, 15% yesterday, 15% today is not enough. I need to see, and even though we had another 10 to 12% in the after hours, I need to see another major pop in the after hours, this after hours, or tomorrow's pre-market, let's just put it that way, and hold on to those gains in order for me to label it the squeeze officially, and not another gimmick that they're playing on us. I would say though, for the most part, the fact that the other stocks, the other like meme stocks are also moving up, I would say that I'm more inclined toward that it is the beginning of the squeeze than I'm not, because it's gonna take so much work to try to manipulate this up and try to manipulate it back down on all those stocks, not just one or two. Maybe the volume comes from people buying the dip and them suppressing it. Suppressing it, yes, for sure. As far as people buying the dip, people's always been buying the dip, whether it was a 30, 40, 50, 15, 14, 13. People have always been buying the dip. So we'll see. See now that ladder attacks really really going into effect right now. They saved their best for last. They're trying to kill us right now. But the movement is very strong. Um, Exiguous boo. The problem we're having is even with volume, about 75% of the buy order are thrown into dark pools. We really need a lot of volume to drive this. Yes, and you guys got to remember. You remember last week when I was raising the main issue for us, like when I broke down the whole image of the squeeze. You remember? Majority of the people that are subscribers to this channel, guys, if you haven't subscribed, please go ahead and do so. Thanks everyone for liking the video. Appreciate you highly. But if you watch the previous videos that I put up, there was a series of videos that I put up explaining how everything about the squeeze, like basically how we fell into this play, why we've been prolonged for this long, and what is the tool that is harming us, or what is the tool that is utilized by them to prolong this play to this point over a year. And I've been telling you guys it's basically through the dark pools, because that's where there are no regulations. So even the transparency rules that everybody's so high on, um, and I'm one of them, but unfortunately, those transparency rules do not affect the dark pools. Remember that. They affect the regular lit market. They affect the regular like institutions that are reporting their holdings and all that stuff. But as far as that issue that some of you have went to comment on, that comments are due by April 18th. It's with section. It was the name of it is S702. Dash 02 dash 22, if I'm not mistaken. Some of you smooth-brained and smart apes here can possibly write that down in the comment section. But that, in my opinion, is the most important thing, because in the dark pools, if you read just the regulations in that in that program, what they're trying to pass, what the SEC is trying to propose to be passed, you will lose your brain. You will lose your mind just reading where the regulation, the times that we're in right now. You will lose your mind thinking about the idea or knowing the idea that there are nothing like it mentions it as you're voting for it. They talk about what the market is like right now, what the dark pool is like right now, and what they're proposing to change. And when you see those before and the after, you're gonna flip your shit. I guarantee you that. Because right now, dark pools, whether it's dark pools that trade only government securities or dark pools that trade both government and non-government securities, which is basically AMC stock, GameStop stock, are completely not just unregulated, but they don't even have to abide by the acts where it's fair play and fair and all that kind of stuff. No, they see it, they do whatever they want. And this is why you see 60 and 75% and whatever number figure of the orders being routed through the dark pool. So even payment for order flow, I made the case for that, is very bad. But what good for them would payment for order flow be if there was no place for them to funnel those payment for order flows through? And the only way they're utilizing the payment for order flow, remember back in the day, in 2021, I remember Kenny G came out even and said, I don't care if you take out payment for order flow. I'm fine with it. Who does that hurt? It hurts only the little brokers like the Robin Hoods and the Weebles and the Moo and whatever not. But does it hurt him as a market maker? No, he don't care. He already done the damage. He already got so many synthetics printed as we spoke back then. Ever since then, it's just been watering down since then. But eventually, what would any payment for order flow be good for if there was nowhere to take those orders that are coming from payment for order flow to funnel them through the system? So if there's nowhere for them, if they can't, they'll do nothing with them in the dark pool, then payment for order flow will be useless for the market maker, which means he would not even pay, or by default, he will stop reaching out to these apps to get orders or payment for order flow orders because he can't do nothing with them. You know what I'm saying? It's kind of like getting fake money at that point. You know, it's pointless. It's what can you do with it? It's actually more harmful than useful at that point, because you know now you have incriminating evidence in your reservoir. You know, so he doesn't want them. But the only reason why they're good for them now is because through the dark pool, they get to funnel them and spread them thin in many, many index funds and many like the IWM, the Russell 2000 and all that stuff, and somehow box them with big bank orders so that when they do the repo and reverse repo transactions overnight, they get the money they need to come back and throw all the crap or all hell on us. This is why we've been prolonged for this long. That's who's financing this has been the feds indirectly. Now, do they know about that? I have a big belief they do, of course. They're not that dumb. But do they care? No, because in that system that I broke in those videos and those series of videos, guys, it shows you, or I was clear to show you that each one in that model along the stops makes money. The feds make money with that with what's been happening. The broker make money, the market maker makes money, and the banks and the big financial institutions make money. So it was good for all of them except the retail. Retail is the only one that does not make money in that model. So if it made sense to any of the subscribers in this channel, I'm glad. If you have not subscribed yet, please go ahead and do so, and feel free to go and view those videos. I don't think anyone have come except for, I've seen, by the way, you guys have said go watch AMC Big M's video, and I've seen the last one that he put, which was the part 2 or something like that. And yes, there's a lot of truth of what the guy is saying. I like what he was saying. It's very, very, very spot on with breaking it down to where it's going from and where it's coming from. But I do also think he's getting a little carried away emotionally in some parts of the video. I'll leave it that way. I wouldn't comment much more, But the overall message is spot on. I would say that. He's the only, by the way, other person that made a video explaining all of it, similar to what I've done, that I've seen on YouTube. I don't know if anyone else. Again, I don't track down YouTubers, so you guys can probably tell me. But everyone else has just kind of been in news reporting to you. You know, kind of like, oh, today this happened. Win Moaz, win Lambo, which is fun to go along the ride. But for me, I just have that mindset of I need to figure out, why am I getting screwed? This is just it. Or how can I make this successful? There's always certain questions, and the most important question is what? And I cannot have what. I have to have answers. That's just my mindset. Otherwise, I can't sleep at night. And it took many months to figure out that idea back in 2021. And when I see that everyone around YouTube, whether the good or the bad, have it wrong, eventually it enticed me to go ahead and create this channel so that we can put it out there and try to gauge as many people as we can and move forward, knowing the true reasons of what's happening and why is it happening to us. Peter Jefferson, what's up, bro? How are you doing, brother? Just stopping through. So are people buying or selling call options when you see these I made money on options post? So when they say I made money, that means they sold options. And it's not a bad thing. At the end of the day, this is the market. You want to make money, and that's something you have to do with options, because they're not like stocks. You can't just hold on to them and expect them to always be good. You do have an expiration date, and what that is called, like between you buying it and the expiration date, all that is called extrinsic value, the time in between that, from the point that you bought it to the point that you sell it, all that is extrinsic value. And the longer you keep holding it, the less the more the extrinsic value fall in value, unless the price is going up in value. So the more it goes up, the more you make in your option. The more it goes down or stays stagnant, like around the same price or consolidating, in other words, the more that your option will become less worthy and it will lose value. So that's why you will see sometimes when people sell options quickly, is because, especially if it's a weekly, because the longer you hold on to it, the more chance for you to come out on a losing end for them. So that's just, again, not financial advice, just giving you a little intro on that without me having to self-incriminate myself. Hopefully I got the point across. If not, Peter, you can feel free to ask any other question and I'll answer it, brother. So XCD says, what do you mean Fed spending is not doing great? We just gave 14 billion to the US citizens. Oh wait, that was Ukraine. Exegius, you're slowly becoming one of the fan favorites in here now. Like everybody's loving Exegius comments or questions even. Yeah. I'm not going to speak on any politics. I understand that we have a lot of problems in our backyard to take care of before throwing money, left and right. But in the same time, this is not the same situation. I mean, guys, when you look at some of those videos I've seen of people, like families having their dog and their kids they're all hiding in a shelter. I don't know what kind of person you have to be, but if you don't tear up or cry for seeing those images, seeing a baby, just like doesn't know what's happening, and they're all with their mom and their dad and their favorite dog in the shelter, hiding on top of each other. In some places, they tell them you can't have an animal in here, and they wouldn't have it. They're still carrying their dog. I know you guys seen all these photos. Remember, I am a giver's mindset as well, that I have that. So like, if I was in the position of the president, honestly, I would have probably done the same thing or even more, even if we're in need so far for it. But since I'm a believer, I'm going to just say that God rewards you based on your intentions. So if he gave it out to help these people, God knows what it means to them. They need it more than us right now, even though we're hurting here in our own backyard. But these people need it more probably. And then eventually we're going to get it back tenfold in more than one way now. Politically, cynically speaking, you know how politics are. I help you right now with 10, 13 billion, and down the line, I expect to get back a handsome return on that investment because they see it as an investment. If they did it from a human standpoint, then kudos to them. I'm very proud because eventually it comes back as far in the form of blessings from the Lord upon the whole nation. So, you know, God does not forget, guys. Sorry to impose that on anyone. I humbly respect every person's beliefs and thoughts. So don't take it as I'm trying to push on you any religion agenda or anything. This is just personally my personal opinion, guys. Maybe that can give you a little more insight on the kind of person you're talking to or dealing with. Okay. Alan is like, I told you, we hit 22 three times, right? Third time the charm. Now the fourth time is going to be a clean break, hopefully to the $23, $24 range. If we break $24, $25 by Friday, guys, by Friday, and that's possible, we could do that easily by possibly by in this after hours or by tomorrow. But if we do close above 25 on Friday, that's the only thing I'm gonna probably be saying on any video I put up. Like, I told you, I told you. It's gonna be remixed too, like on a sound effect. I'll edit it out. So like the whole video was just like, I told you, and I'll put a music in the background and make it sound like hip hop or some rap. AB spitting bars. So Excidious, I got a joke for you. Okay, wow, here, let me pay attention. A couple was laying in bed. Babe, I used to be a Christian. Is that cool with you? And then she was like, yeah, hon, it doesn't matter to me. That's good to hear. I love being a Christian instead. uh, so Sheen, don't worry, brother. You keep being real, and this will be the biggest community. Good work. Well, thank you. I appreciate it, and I'm very, very humbled. Thank you, Sheen. Kid Rich, uh, what's up with you, brother? Yes, we will be partying in Miami soon. I still have that thought when you told me last time in the back of my head. So yes, can't wait. Every time I see your name, Kid Rich, I think it's Kid Cudi first because you know the kid, the KID. So yeah, Kid Cudi might be in the chat and we don't know it, guys. I'm glad you get it, Jefferson. Thank you, Peter. Angel, thank you. Once AMC squeezed the stock market, maybe a wrap for me. Yes, very, 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 very possible for sure. It could be a wrap. Um, I spoke per that I expect a break from the market for a bit just to see where it lands afterwards on what rock it falls. Hopefully it's on Pride Rock, not on Broken Rock. But I will be looking at the crypto at that point to see where that one have landed and looking to take some monstrous positions in some of that because eventually that's where the trend will separate and go up. That's just I'm just so high on crypto. So afterwards, right now it's just about price entrance. Since I see that I could make more money in these meme stocks. That's why I'm more concentrated on this. I'm cleared completely for all my previous crypto holdings, and now I can make more money here while this is here because the option, like the opportunity for this, is not around every day. So therefore, since it's a once in a lifetime opportunity, I loaded up on this, and eventually I'm gonna shift over to crypto, even if it's at this level that I jump over to crypto. Even let's say crypto does not crash, hypothetically speaking, to the levels that I am anticipating after the squeeze, even if it was at these levels, it's still a great entry point, especially when you come back with big capital from the squeeze. It wouldn't matter to you if Bitcoin was at uh, at 35 or 40,000 versus it being in the 20s somewhere or the 15s. Um, I mean, again, if you have like big position, like if you have millions of dollars afterwards, it wouldn't matter much. You're gonna take a position whether you like it or not. If you're high on that crypto, you're gonna take a position. So therefore, you know, it's good either way. But the ultimate message is that I see more potential in the meme stocks. So that's why any penny and every penny that I have is all put into meme stocks right now. I do have a couple of Ethereums here and there. That's just from many years ago that I just had. And they're in my Coinbase account. And I'm not like last time I looked at it was probably God knows how when, probably before the squeeze even started. The squeeze talk started. Let's see. It's like the movie, The Big Short, but the opposite. Yes. Exegeus said, "AB, God rewards people good intentions. So religiously speaking, Kenny's intentions are pure." Yes, so he shall get crucified for his thoughts. I would say that. As far as Kenny. Um 20, yeah, you see 2089. Oh, at that time you posted, yeah, probably so. Right now it's around the 21, 29, 2020, 2098, 2099. Still hovering. Let's see. We got 30 more minutes. I expect the crazy either move up or the ladder down attacks to start within the next 10 to 15 minutes, guys. We'll see. As far as where we are at on the day, this is not bad. Uh, you know, anything above 21, I take it and be happy with it. I'm still waiting to see my other positions to go crazy, similar to tlry. At some point, I had a problem with which marijuana stocks I wanted to be in because I was already huge in sndl and tlry, but then I also had a position in hexo and Aurora Cannabis (ACB). So I had to consolidate out of those two and just put it in one. So instead, I sold out of ACB and hexo, and eventually just transferred most of it into tlry. The fact that it's in the $5 range, guys, it's again not financial advice, but common sense advice. And I made the case for it yesterday, guys, that tlry or the marijuana industry in general, think of it like this: when the economy is terrible and is down toward the middle or the end of this year, we'll say, that's when you start seeing major crash signs. Whether it happens in 2023 or in the end of 2022, marijuana will be legalized. The way I see it, it's going to get legalized. No other way around it, because the government will officially have a new stream of income from that market. If you face it right now, marijuana is unregulated, clearly because it's not it's not federally approved yet, but they will have to approve it because do you know how much money they can make from taxing marijuana? And that's ultimately what they want. That's when the crash happens, they will be faced with that reality and they will have to do it. Now, as far as the conservatives in the Congress that are making it seem like, oh no, marijuana is bad for the public and all that stuff, I think that the last thing they care about in that Congress, whether Republican or Democrat, is the better overall being of the American citizen. I think that is the last on the agenda. They think of everything else before that. So I think when the market is completely broken into shambles and pieces, eventually that's what they will do. And when you see stocks like, for example, tlry being the biggest marijuana producer on the planet already, especially after that Afaria merger months ago, like back in, what was it, March? Was it March or May of 2021? One of those months. It's a no-brainer that if this thing, when it squeezes, I mean, back in January of 2021, tlry's broke up to $67 on crazy volatile moves. And that was not the end of the squeeze for it. That was just the child play. So Since then, they've upgraded all their mechanics and everything. It's so crazy. It's so crazy. But we'll see. Again, I'm not giving anybody any financial advice on what to invest in and what to go invest in, when to invest in. I'm just putting out my thoughts on what I think highly of certain stocks. Um, One that I really am in love with, but unfortunately I can't take a part in or be a part of it is Neo. Neo has been shorted like crazy as well. Neo, Lee, and xpev. But the reason why I can't be a part of them is because we have issues with the Chinese government. And for me, I'm already over leveraged on all the other plays I told you I have positions on, huge positions on. I'm not willing to play politics with these guys because that's where the problem is. When it's something out of my hands, I don't want to deal with that. Um, so Axidius says, honestly, man, after this play, I am getting into tangibles, precious metals, maybe buy a ton of properties. Either way, I'm gonna be far away from the city and on my land. Great plan, brother. Here's the thing I would just like to touch on as far as the precious metals. Precious metals are so easy to buy, but they're not as easy to sell. Keep that in the back of your head. Do some more research on it. And please come back to the channel and share with the rest of the family so that everybody can have, a broad knowledge on all of it. Now, I don't have the most experience on precious metals, but I do know that holding on to them is great, especially once the crypto world gets pushed, and let's say if there is a digital dollar to be put, um, the only thing it can be backed by is by gold. So yes, precious metals will be very, very, very sought after. But remember, like I said, it's not as easy to get rid of as in return as, or vice versa, of how easy it is to buy. Um, but properties, perfect. I remember telling some of the subscribers here like a few weeks ago about the plan that there was some people that I knew that started this whole Uber scheme where they bought many cars on many brand new cars and financed them, and then they hired regular people to drive those cars and do Uber. Believe it or not, the driver does not, so like it was equal, like everybody was happy because the driver that was hired looked at it as a cap system. He's not driving his own car. The company is giving him a car, which is the group of those people that I'm talking to you about. So they bought the car, all the cars, they financed them, they hired all these people, they go drive, they give them a schedule, how long or how many hours they have to drive every week, and both parties make money. So it was very crazy. Now, is it illegal? Of course, because, but I don't think there's anything in Uber that says you can't do that. These guys are opening new accounts and all that. But see, like it's just how crazy how people can come up with things. Now, land is really, really important in these times as well. You're gonna see like a lot of these things are gonna be very good. So you're in the right place. Uh, Axidius. So I'm wondering, like, all of you guys should all put in the comment section like what you think after the squeeze you want to do, because it could indirectly help someone else, guys. Like give somebody else an idea that they did not think about. Musa, hello AB, how are you? How are you doing? I'm great. Thursday night to Friday margin call. Then MOAS Monday on to Wednesday before April 1st. Question, thanks. Okay, well, it's a little more complicated than that. Uh, if tomorrow, if for example, in the pre-market or the aftermarket today and the pre-market tomorrow, we also run and we somehow capture the 23 and $24 range, then I can easily tell you that there will definitely be a lot of margin calls put next week, but it won't be as early as Monday to Wednesday. Why? Because they would have some time. Normally when a margin call is issued, they give them 48 hours to sometimes up to a week, depending on the banks. Sometimes these guys have a lot of buddy systems, so they can give them time to come up with the margin requirement. If they do, get the money and cover their margin requirement, then the margin call would stop right there and then. Now, if we here's where the kicker is through the option chain. When you have us breaking at least that $22 range when it closed, when it's all said and done by Friday, then you have by next Tuesday, because Monday they have to look back and see, okay, what did we do that last week? Oh shit, we closed above, and all these contracts went in the money. Okay, shit. So Tuesday, similar to this week, that's when you see all the contracts from this week going into the system next week. So I see if this is indeed the squeeze, then you're going to see it move a little slower than that. And then you're not going to have, as you indicated, like Monday to Wednesday is the squeeze. No, because you're going to have a lot of also halts and suspensions in this play. One thing I would add is in this moose, like in this play, expect this play to last possibly weeks rather than just a couple days. Because the float, especially for AMC, is not small, and you're gonna have a lot of billions in moving in volume, daily volume, and even then, it's still not gonna be enough because how many times have we purchased this float over and over again? All that stuff has to be accounted for. So I'm going with conservative figures, and I'm gonna go with the fact that I think some people made some good arguments on calculating how many shares were sold, and a very conservative figure that I've heard from a lot of people is at least 5 billion shares. I know that that's a very conservative figure. Majority of other people have shared, that there's 25 to 50, 13 billion, 20 billion, whatever. I'm gonna go for my safety for 5 billion shares, and to see them have to cover that much throughout the volume of this is when I would know that the apes are really talking real, that they are really holding their shares. Because when we see that if institutions are dumping their shares, of course expected at a much lower rate, because they have a lot more shares and they don't need to diamond in hand or nothing, and at the end of the day they all work together, so they will look out for each other. But when it comes to us, we're going to see the true reality, or the idea of apes holding. We're going to see it when the time comes. Numbers will not lie, and we'll see it then. Hopefully that answers it. So Exiguous, the difference between the AMC crowd and GME crowd is that when Kenny shorts GME down 20% in a day, I wonder why he didn't do it harder. We're into the freaky stuff. Where so here's the thing. So the one thing we got to remember is that in order for them to drop GME, they really do have to kiss so many rings, because you guys see that it's so hard to short a stock that is in the sub-$100 range with the short interest like or the borrow fee so high, or at least 14%. Do you know how much they have to put just to put it down? Also knowing in the back of their head that eventually it's going to run up regardless. Think of it like that. Like imagine you knowing that you have to pay a bill to keep your electricity on, and it's like, let's say it's $5,000, and then they present you with like, maybe you call in and say, hey, please, you're just trying to buy time for 2 weeks. They say, okay, if you pay us $1,000, we'll keep it on for 2 weeks until you pay the rest. But that $1,000 will not count toward your bill. Would you take that deal? Most likely you're going to be like, no. If I'm that way, I'll end up paying $6,000. But how bad do you need it? Do you need your electricity really bad? Do you have files you have to work on? Do you need the electricity? So sometimes, obviously, people will take that deal. They will pay that extra $1,000. I know it doesn't exist in the logical world, but that's the closest example I can give you to why the hedge funds or the market makers are going above and beyond, and knowing that they're dumping money on a lost cause, knowing it's losing, and still continue to do so. But how effective is it going to be? I mean, not much, especially with GameStop. They'll be more inclined to do all that crap with Sundial, tlry, even AMC to a certain extent, Clove and all these stocks, but GameStop is just a sleeping dragon that when it wakes up, it burns everything around it. That's just it. And it is true, given the fact that that's what it does. Okay. So, do you think this squeeze, this will squeeze big before Amazon stock split? Do you think it was a reason Amazon decided to do that now? Not necessarily that they probably decided to do this now. I mean, no one knows ultimately what is also in the background, similar to the HYMC, the Highcroft investment for AMC. No one knows truly what they see. Them and Sprout, the other partner with them, see in that investment because face value, there's nothing special about it. Now, what do they see that or what they know behind closed doors? That's what we're trying to find out. So Amazon, when they do the stock split, it could be possible related to this, the timing and everything, because then a lot of more people would have more money to go in, and when they see an Amazon at a, $400 or $500, $600 price, like ticker price, um, you know, no one is crazy to go against Amazon because Amazon is there to stay no matter what. So most people are gonna jump into that, especially they'll be more inclined with a lesser price symbol or ticker symbol. Come on, last 15 minutes. We need to push. Push. Okay. Oxygen said, baby, all I can say is that be careful after the squeeze, man. Hedges will be out for blood after what we accomplished. So pick your investments wisely. And that is well spoken for sure. And indeed, my friend, that is what we're gonna deal with. Obviously, they're gonna be out for fresh blood and they will still be licking their wounds themselves. But afterwards, if you're staying in the market, in the stock market, then yes, Axios is perfectly 100% of what they're saying. Now, if you're looking in the crypto realm, like I said before, like for me, you have to do your initial research on which cryptos jump in, which ones have been already adopted on a national or on a global scale, so that you're not jumping into something that has a very shaky uh, grounding. Like for example, XRP, I'm really big on, but the problem is it still has that lawsuit on it and all that paper, and it's been on for years now. So whenever that finishes, wherever the outcome of that, that will dictate if I would jump back in or not. Um, but as far as the blockchain technology that they have is flawless. That ADA Cardano is huge. I mean, what it just went up like 12 or 11% just from the last or 48 hours. But I'm really bullish on that one. Um, I was really huge on Doge back 2020 because I had a really big position in it at a very low price value. I said it even on the Macellorians live page. I bought in through in the pandemic time frame, and it was at that time 0.000067 667. So when it ran up to the cents in January of 2021, I cashed up at it was like 3 or 4 cents. It continued to go obviously to 75 or whatnot, but at that time, um, it was huge, given the fact that the coin have never seen 1 cent just to get to go with, and with my position at the average that I had, it was a no-brainer. So yeah, like Axel just said, just be careful. The most easy thing to be in is obviously hard assets, buying property, buying land, buying things like that. Those are things that you can control. And the one good thing about that stuff, those hard assets, is that you can take them to use as collateral in for future to try if you want to work on a big project or something like that, and you want to get a big loan from a bank or something. those things will work as collateral. They're good to have than not to have for sure, because you will get your approval for getting that huge loan will skyrocket for sure. Amazon stock split will be like tops for HCMC in the trillions and millions per share. I'm not pretty sure I get what is being said, but maybe. What's up, Eric? How are you doing, my good friend? It was fun seeing you yesterday in the Pantheon's page. I remember when you said that Pantheon said yes, that there he is. That's the gentleman. I think like, when I walked in, that sounded like he was already talking about me before that. So I don't know if there was something that I've missed. Please let me know, whether good or bad. You know, I doubt that anything bad comes from Pantheon. We're really, really cool friends. So, but I would love to know still, anyways. Um, did you see the AMC Bigum's video where he talks about the ISDA contracts being the same as the mortgage-backed securities, and how they're using the same junk to package shorts the way they did in 2008? Yes, this is why I said earlier, Alan, I think it's before you came in, that I agree for majority of, in fact, if not for all the diagram that he drew. It's very similar to the things that I, say. I believe I just broke it down a little different and like kind of an easier breakdown as far as why we've been trapped in this for over a year and a half. Now, as far as if it's the same as the ISDA stuff, yes, it's spot on, because you have, I mentioned many times before that there in other countries out there, debts can be sold. So there are a lot of countries out there, wink, wink, China, that owns a lot of American debt. And we own a lot of junk Chinese debt, whether from Evergrande or, uh, from other stuff. So all those things come into effect and they play a big role for sure. But I did watch that video. That's the only video I watched. A lot of you guys told me to watch it. So I do agree with it. And like I said again, I think he just at some part in some parts he gets a little carried away emotionally. And besides that, the overall message was great. I will just put it that way. If this is true and meme stocks squeeze, wouldn't this crash the whole market? Of course. Um, okay. A lot. There's many YouTubers that are saying this is not going to crash the market. They have all this and they have all that. And the truth, the reality is, guys, that the DTCC or the feds are going to take care of all this on their own, similar to 2008. Yes, they will step in for sure, but obviously it's kind of like when you when you go and co-sign, like let's say you're getting a loan and somebody, your mother or your father, comes to co-sign with you because your bank tells you you need a co-signer. The co-signer in this case is like the DTCC or the Federal Reserve. Let's just put it that way. Okay, hypothetically speaking, and you default on your loan to the bank is going to come after you. Well, first, they're going to come after you for what you got. Let's say you only had a third of whatever you had to pay on that loan. They will take that still. It's not like they'll just tell you, okay, you go away, we'll go talk to your co-signer. No, they will take that third and then they'll go after the co-signer for the remainder. So that's basically how it is. How can these people give? Well, they have to sell out their positions. There are other, there are other positions that are not over leveraged, similar to the shorts they have on GameStop, AMC, and the meme stocks. They would have to go and sell their Amazon shares. They would have to sell their their Tesla shares and all that stuff. And that is possibly why Amazon is doing a stock split right now, so that when you see it, when they do a stock split right now, it's split from the $3,000 range or whatever the case may be when they officially do it, rather than when it's down to 600 and they do a stock split. It goes down to $32. So they want to capture as many people possibly now before. before it goes down again. So that's also goes to the point of the gentleman earlier here, um, assiduous, saying watch out from what's happening in the market because they're going to be out for blood. That goes along in that comment. Okay. And he is absolutely correct. Yep. Let's see. Well, Eric said, well, in my opinion, yes, but it wasn't the cause. The banks and the funds did this. Are you referring to what AMC Bigham said in his video, Eric? I saw that. The movie, The Big Short, show how everything went down. We are just in the opposite position than the hedgies on the movie. Mm-hmm. Directly but indirectly, Alan, in my opinion. Okay. Me and my kids are going to start up an organization to help women that have been trafficked and kids have been trafficked. Oh my God, future whale. Whenever you get that started, please reach out to me, and I would like to be, or would love to be, one of the first contributors to the cause. Doesn't matter what the amount is, what it is, but that's to me sounds like a golden thing. So big ups to you, brother. Much needed for sure. Alan said during the crash, we wouldn't get paid if banks and brokers filed bankruptcy. Here's the thing, Alan. Yes and no. We will get paid, and here's why. Because ultimately, if banks and brokers apply for bankruptcy, they're most of these, if you're through a broker that is DTCC backed or sponsored, then the DTCC would take care of that part. This is how the regulations are put. Now, will they do that? Of course, when the time comes, we'll find out. But as far as by the law, that's what it says. Like, for example, when people say will screw you over and all that stuff. Here's the thing. If Webull goes through a clearinghouse called Apex, Apex is literally one of the first sponsors on that sponsored list by the DTCC. If Apex give, oh, we bankrupt or whatever, we can't pay you, then obviously it will be connected to the main overall server of the DTCC. That's who they're sponsored from. They're backed by that. Someone will have to answer. It won't just be like, okay, well, you held, and now everybody doesn't want to play. It's kind of like when you're playing with someone, and let's say, like, gambling with someone on a card game, and the agreement is to play whatever 10 rounds, but 5 rounds in, your opponent is beating you very bad, and they like what they're holding. They don't want to go the extra 5. They'll just be like, okay, I stop right here. I'm winning. I don't want to play no more. Well, they can't do that because the agreement says, that they're backed up to the 10 games. So it's similar to a casino. If a casino dealer, is dealing and you win a big jackpot, doesn't matter if they made a mistake on their play or their shuffling or whatnot, the casino has to back it because the ultimate casino in this case is the DTCC, and all these other entities are going through the DTCC because ultimately, how did the market maker get shares? Where did they go to get shares to print synthetics out of? The DTCC. Let's see. I'm starting my own hedge fund to go after short sellers. Who's with me? Did that put me in that list? I'm with you. AB Pantheon said all wonderful things about you and your stream. I believe him. Well, thank you so much for coming, Eric. I appreciate Pantheon beyond any words imaginable. Obviously, he's great. That's why you see me at 4-5 in the morning at his live stream, being in the group chat. Love it. Great times seeing you guys there and here as well. So Radwan said I'm using a London-based broker called Trading 212. Oh, wasn't that the one that had a big problem months ago and they couldn't, I think it was like they couldn't pay out someone or something like that. I remember there was something about them. Maybe you can clarify that, Radwan. It was like 8 or 7, 8, 9 months ago. Um, um, what are the chances that they will get vaporized? Will the DTCC make sure that all brokers worldwide will get paid? No. That's the answer with one. The DTC is responsible, as far as I know, they're responsible for all clearing houses that are based in the US. Now, here's the thing. If you want to know even more, let's say I'm wrong about this, you could go to you can search it in Google and look at the clearing houses that are sponsored by the DTCC. It will give you a list. It's a very long list, but when I looked at that list, I remember seeing Apex Clearing was one of like the first one due to the alphabet, it being starting with A. So you can see that and you can see that list. If it's not on there, then you could look at. I wonder who is it in Britain, England. Who's the what is that organization that is equivalent to DTCC in England? Maybe you could search that and put it in here. Maybe we have some other English friends that are in here that also would like to know the answer to that. Very good question, Radwan. Thank you so much, Angel. I think that the whole world, everyone should be genuine at the end of the day. No need to wear masks and be someone different because it's just so much more maintenance to it, you know? So hard to try to live up in the eyes of people as being or pretending to be someone that you're not. It's a lot more work. It's not, and it can be felt. So I'm glad that you can feel that, and I'm very appreciative to that. Alan says AMC has 0 shares available in Fintel right now. I didn't look at the price. Hold on, the market just closed. Where did we close at? Did we close at 2078? So those a-holes got us under the 21, which I didn't like. We'll see the after hours, nothing yet, similar to yesterday. Starts off like this, guys, but you should see the real fireworks anywhere around 6 o'clock. As soon as we approach that 6 o'clock time zone, 5:50, 5:45, something like that, then you start seeing some major movements, if there is none directly right after the market close. And here's the thing, Alan, when you said 0 shares available in Fintel now, yeah, unfortunately, until they load up, somehow they get some more by the morning. Maybe throughout the night tonight in the aftermarket, they will call some, some big institutes and say, hey, buddy, you got some to lend a friend. Let's see. Depending on this aftermarket and tomorrow's pre-market, a lot of things are going to change. We'll be able to tell a lot of things, you know. I made a ton on Doge at that time. It was nuts. Yes, there's another person that was in it at that time frame, and yes, it was crazy. I mean, honestly, guys, when you think about that, what I was just telling you, like if you put in like just $4, $5, $6,000 at that time, when it was like 0.000067, like around that time frame and that price point, can you imagine when it actually went up and went to the 3 and 4 cent range? Because that was the first initial pop. It was to 4 cents, and then it rebounded back down, consolidated, went back down to about almost the 2 to 3, the 1 point something to 2 cents, and then it had a second major rip that took it to above 9 cents. I remember, if I'm not mistaken, it was like 9 to 10 cents. then it consolidated a little bit, and then it had its third and final until this moment rip, where it ripped up to the what was it, the 74, 73 cents, and fell right back down since then. We've been on the downtrend since then. But what I sold at that time, I mean, the number that I saw was just unimaginable. Like, wow. I was like, okay, more AMC and more GME. And it was fun times. So Eric, you seem to know what it was like back then. It was so sweet. I miss those days. He was totally telling us all great stuff about you, brother. Well, I'm very grateful. Was he saying all that stuff yesterday in that yesterday stream or a different day? Just so I would know, because I would love to go watch it again. Show is, that is my plan as well. Sounds great to me, Andrew. It sounds good to know that I have an angel with me on that plan. I'm buying land, property, and crypto. Yes. Maybe I'll come and rent a property from you so I can live. LCH London Clearinghouse. Thank you so much, Eric. There you go, Radwan. We have an answer right here for what the DTCC equivalence is, and I would go ahead and search the London Clearinghouse and see if 212 is underneath their umbrella. I'm not mistaken. I'm almost certain, Radwan. I hope I'm wrong, but I'm almost certain that that was the hedge fund that or the broker that could not do certain payouts. I think it was back in the June run up. And they did something where they suspended trading, or they did not allow people to sell or buy for a certain amount of time. Maybe you can come back again. I'm not 100%, but I'm almost certain, because again, it was last like a year ago. That was one that did that, and if it is, then you saw what they did to you once, similar to Robinhood here. If they're the equivalents of Robinhood there, you just want to kind of secure yourself. So I would make some calls to that 212 and say, hey, do you have any plans on doing this ever again? I remember back then when almost everybody had a Robinhood account before all the stink came out about it. I called them, and I say, hey, do you have issues? What's up? Can you handle transactions? Do you have enough liquidity? And of course, the representatives are always going to give you real answers according to the regulations. They're not going to, self-incriminate themselves, but in the same time, they're not going to give you too much from what's behind the closed doors. They're never going to come and tell you, no, we can't do it. That's the truth. But if you like what they tell you when you talk to them, when I spoke to that Robinhood agent back then, from what I heard from him, I did not make any sense. I didn't like it. I didn't feel comfortable, so I had to make a switch. I switched to Webull at the time, then realized that I have to do more switching. It was crazy. Everybody had to go through those times. Okay. I'll be financially free and help my family. I pray for that, Angel. I hope so. I had 500,000 at one point in time, but not when it ripped. And yes, hey, that was good. Good for you, Eric. Yesterday, okay, it was in yesterday's chat. Okay, I will go ahead and go through the, what was it, like 4 hours long? I'll try to find it through that. Such an amazing guy Pantheon is. Just an amazing individual, not just on a level of politeness or being nice. He's also very, very knowledgeable, and I call him the DD King. I literally call him that. Like, he knows that I call him that, because the way that he goes after something is just like a hawk, like very vicious, and he finds you all the ins and outs. He makes those awesome videos. Like, if you guys seen that AMC video, from where all the shares have come from, and why we have a float of the 500 and 40 or 60 million or the 14 million shares. That video was really awesome, and it broke everything for how AMC got to the point that they got to now. Much kudos to the guy. Then it said lesson earned on Doge. That's why I'm diamond handing my XRP, XLM, and AMC and GME. Yeah, a lot of people who missed the train on Doge thought that SHIB or Shiba was gonna be the next thing and bigger, and it most likely could still be. I mean, I'm just looking at SHIB and Doge for both to be more adopted, similar to Bitcoin and Ethereum, before I ever touch them again. I need more validation on a global adoption level so that I can feel comfortable jumping in there. Because again, regulations are still not jumped in for the crypto market. So who knows what regulation comes through and how much of a difference could it change for some cryptos rather than other cryptos. It could kill some and it could keep some alive, and it could give life to some others. Dinette, can you please go ahead and give a brief explanation about XLM, please? I don't know much about it personally. Not much into the XLM. Early this morning, actually. Yeah, okay, I get it now, Eric. You're talking about the podcast or the stream from Pantheon. Uh, Speaking of Vlad, he's still on his apology tour. You know this guy. Payout is when his company went IPO at retail expense. Just another guy to drop kick. Yeah, you know, I'm probably the last person to ask of his opinion on that guy. Uh, Again, the way I see him as a person who just wants to get accepted into that country club of the elites, and he's possibly in, uh, but after, like before the squeeze, but after the squeeze, who knows? He could be dumped somewhere. Who knows? Nobody can find. Like breaking news: Vlad can no longer be located. Similar to that Alibaba CEO or billionaire guy who vanished. I don't know. Did they ever find the guy? Did he ever come back to the spotlight? Because I remember he had some issues with the Communist Party in China, um, and you know how they go about things. You know, you don't like the regime, chicken fried rice. Just um, absolutely, I felt a deep sense of discernment from him with a perfect blend of humanity um, and able knowledge. Yes, indeed. AB, I think you need a bigger straw, bro. You know how like the Indians do it? What are you trying to get a cobra to come out of nowhere, Exodius, or what? Okay, there's the net. Angel, XLM runs on Stellar and Stellar Lumens. Is an open source decentralized protocol for digital currency, aka CBDS, not just CBD. Fiat money, low cost transfers. Sounds like fun to me, right? Maybe do you speak Spanish? Do you like my gringo speak? If you, so gracias. No, I do not speak Spanish, unfortunately. It's the language that I most badly want to learn out of any other language. I speak English and Arabic. So if you want to listen to some Arabica, um, this is where you can lay it on me, brother. He said, Eric said, yeah, we know how China does it. uh, It's like XRP but non-profit. All right, all right. That's XLM. I'm supposedly thinking. Okay, guys. So we're about to hit that 3 hour mark. After hours still look nothing too drastic. Grain of salt of 1.5 to 2% movement. Um, if the move starts accelerating later on, I will come back later on tonight to talk more, possibly after 8 o'clock, maybe after 9, maybe not. But I want to so humbly thank you, all of you guys, for attending this stream. Thank you so much for subscribing and liking the video, guys. You guys have been the greatest community anybody can ever ask for. Thank you so much for all the newcomers. Um, if you have any questions, again, I'm in love with how everybody in here is so respectful and grateful to each one another. And we're basically here talking about everything else. As you can see, we're not just so centric on what I want to hear news. This is the place you go to level up your playing game style and investing style. Because you got to look at the whole. You know, one thing I always say, always keep your eyes on everything going in the market and outside the market. You cannot just be so center visioned and focused on one thing. That way you miss so many things that are happening around. Um, at the end of the day, guys, I think I just saw Assidious write another comment, so I'll read it after. I just slightly grazed it, something about sniffing, so I'll read the rest of it soon. But besides all that, guys, I really appreciate everyone. Um, oh, look at that. Eric says he has an Arabic tattoo. What does it say? Say it in English, and I will say it right back to you in Arabic. And we'll see if it's correct. And thank you, Eric, for putting his name out there as well. Okay. Assidious said, "Hey AB, in sniffing contest, do you think you can beat Biden?" Um, I don't think anybody can beat Biden in any of that. And as far as sniffing in that competition, I think I will lose to everyone. I don't need to. I don't need to. That's one I'll take a back seat. So it doesn't matter who it is. I think I will lose against. I don't even want to ask. I'm not even gonna ask you sniffing what. So don't even go there. Look at Eric adding more fire to the fuel, saying acid. um, Katie, thanks for answering all my questions, AB. You're awesome. Look forward to seeing you on calls with other greats. Thank you so much, Katie. It's been a privilege, obviously, having you here and answering your questions. I'm glad I was able to. If you have any more, please don't shy away and put them in the comments section or add them, on the channel itself. It says Eric is saved and forgiven. It says, okay, Eric is saved and forgiven. That's a long one. Wow, you wrote like kind of like a scripture kind of thing, but it's not that long. But so it says Eric is saved and forgiven. So first is gonna start with your name, Eric. I'm gonna go ahead and write it and try to put it on a paper, and then I'll show it to you. I need a empty or blank paper. I don't know why I don't have one next to me. This is fun to end the stream on, right? What is? I don't wonder what they used. See, guys, Arabic is a very fluid language, and there's a lot of letters that exist in it that do not coexist in many other languages, especially English. That's why we have some pronunciations that sound a lot harsher than, the English language. Like for example, um, we have let's say if a name Khadija here in the US or in English we'll say Khadija, the K and H. but in Arabic it's actually pronounced as, wait for it, let me clear it all up, Khadija. So there's a kh, that's almost like kind of you getting ready to spit. I'm not gonna say on someone, but that's how you officially correctly pronounce Khadija. It's Khadija. Um, so Eric will be, I already got your name written. Eric is saved. Where is it? Where did it go again? It has something to do with musamah. Um, ah, so there's more, Eric, before I show you this, or for everyone else, there are more words out there to represent, more than one word to represent a particular vocab. So they could have used a different one, but this is the one that I've seen. This is the ones that I see. Maybe it's backwards because of the camera, the way that it is, but this is your name right there, Eric, ARK. And I'm glad. I look forward to hearing the story on why you chose to get that one in Arabic and those particular words, because it sounds very biblical for sure. And I am originally from Jordan, as some of you know. And a cool fact to know that Jesus was actually baptized in the river of Jordan. So I played around in that as a kid in that river. It's very small, but it's definitely holy. There's something in the air in those areas that is you only smell it, sniff it, or smell it. Uh-oh, not back to the sniffing. When you're there, it's just different. It's just different than anywhere else on the planet. You'll see, because all those great like prophets back then and biblical age and the great empires from before, whether Roman or Persian and so many different more, have passed through those areas there, and you can feel it in when you're there. So if you have not traveled to Jordan yet, you should put that in your the bucket list or to-do list. And wow, that's great. Your whole forearm. Um, I do have Twitter. Yes, it is AB Investments. The same setup on my thing here. So um, it's a.b forward slash or underscore, sorry, investments. I used to have another one that was personal, and he was by the name of Doge Man. So the other, I don't use Twitter as much or any of that, but if you guys all force me to go into it, I will definitely, go and start putting a lot of tweets. Thank you, Katie, again. Um, pretty close, yeah. Well, I'm glad that it was that close. Um, it is biblical for you, yes. Then yes, I figured. That's good. I'm glad. I'm very honored to have you in here, brother. Um, so, um, oh, there we go. So, Assiduous is not only our fun and great questionnaire, but also he's very polite person as well, and very cool person, very good person. I'm very glad to have you in here, brother, and very honored to know you as well, and have dealt with you throughout this stream, and looking forward to dealing with you more and more down the line, and in this amazing movement. Thank you so much as well. I do thank all of you guys for attending the stream. And um can I write my handle? Oh, like for Twitter? I'll go ahead and post it to after this video posts, Eric, if you don't mind. I'll go ahead, because I don't know if you can see it on here, but I'll go ahead and write it here, and if you couldn't see it, I'll post it to the video comments. Now I do have the worst handwriting. It's worse than chicken scrap, so hopefully that you can still read it. AB investments. That underscore between that, and that'll be it. You remember when people had to put papers like this to verify that it's real time with dates on it, holding up 2 fingers? Thank you again, Assiduous. I'm glad that you like the content. And I think I have my Twitter in the description of my channel itself. So if you go to the YouTube channel, you might find the Twitter link on there as well, brother. Sorry to put you on a hunt. Usually I'm not watching stock posts or following GME AMC. Usually I'm watching women's Bolton. I swear it attracts all men of culture. Well, I'll keep that in mind, Assiduous, for sure. Okay, or mine is, I see yours now. I'll follow you, brother. Till Eric. Appreciate you, brother. I will definitely send that out to you, that follow. Okay. Oh, got it. All right. Well, I'll send a follow back soon as well. Anyone else, please feel free to also follow me if you would like. Thank you so much for your time, guys. I'm not going to drag this on out longer. If you have any other questions, please put them in the comments section, and hopefully we get the rise that we're anticipating, after that, around that 6 o'clock time frame. If not this aftermarket, then hopefully in the pre-market tomorrow. I have a big inclination that it will happen because the volume was so monstrous today. So it's just going to carry on to the after hours, since there's not a lot more manipulation like ladder attacks like throughout the regular trading day business hours. So besides that, thank you so much, guys. Much love, AB. Hold on, before I say that, this sounds weird. Some follow me, imagine saying that in person. Come follow me. Thanks, Eric. I'll look forward to the pic. Assiduous, you're gonna bring the end of me on this channel. Much love, guys.